I want you to imagine something with me for a moment. Something very simple, yet very strange. Imagine that every desire you have ever felt, every longing, every ache, every frustration was not a mistake, not a misdirection, not some embarrassing evidence of human weakness, but a clue, a signpost, a compass needle pointing toward the very essence of who you truly are. Most people live their entire lives believing the opposite. They think desire is something suspicious, something to suppress, fight, or bargain with. They are taught that wanting is the root of suffering, that craving is a flaw in the system, that peace comes only when the heart stops reaching. But what if that isn't true? What if desire is not the villain, but the guide? What if the universe has only ever been saying one thing to you, and that thing is simply this: you always get what you want, but you must understand what you truly want. And so here we are, you and I, drifting in this great mysterious experience we call life, trying to make sense of why some things come to us effortlessly while others stay locked away as if behind an impenetrable wall. People ask me, why do I get what I don't want? Why do I keep manifesting struggle, stress, or disappointment? If the universe gives us what we want, why do I get the opposite? And I always smile, because the answer is hidden in the question itself. You see, most people don't realize what they are actually wanting. They believe they want success, yet they spend every day immersed in the feeling of fear that they'll fail. They think they want love, yet their entire emotional vocabulary is shaped by the expectation of rejection. They say they want abundance, yet their internal conversation is dominated by lack, insecurity, and the anxious scanning of what's missing. This is the strange and ironic joke of the cosmos. You don't manifest what you say you want. You manifest what you are. You are like a tuning fork, vibrating its own frequency into existence. You attract not your words, but your state of being, not your thoughts alone, but the emotional atmosphere in which those thoughts swim. And so, in this great dream, this divine game, you always get what you want, but the want that the universe responds to is much deeper than conscious intention. You must understand this if you wish to move through life as a creator rather than a victim of circumstance. I often tell people the universe is not listening to your lips, it is listening to your nerves. It is listening to the tension in your belly, the rhythm of your breath, the electromagnetic hum of your heart. It responds to what you know, not what you hope. It responds to your inner posture, your inner decision, your emotional certainty. And so the question becomes, what am I truly wanting beneath the surface? What have I rehearsed so deeply, so repeatedly, that it has become my actual request to the universe? Because that is the thing that is always being granted. Let me take you deeper. When you say, I want a peaceful life, but your daily emotional state is one of overwhelm, resentment, and internal conflict, the universe hears only the emotional reality, not the verbal wish. When you say, I want love, but inside you feel unworthy or terrified of intimacy, the universe hears the vibration of fear and protects you from the vulnerability you secretly dread. When you say, I want abundance, but your subconscious is still gripping tightly onto scarcity, the universe responds not with cruelty, but with consistency. It gives you the experience that matches the frequency you live in. And so the great spiritual task is not to manipulate the universe or to recite affirmations until your lips go numb. The task is to understand yourself, to see clearly what you have been asking for emotionally, not verbally, to become intimate with the deeper layers of your own being. Because once you see this, once you truly see the emotional patterns you have been repeating for years, everything changes. You no longer feel betrayed by life. You no longer feel cursed or unlucky or condemned by forces outside your control. You begin to recognize that you have always been participating in the shape of your experience. You have always been co-authoring the story you were living. And then something beautiful happens. You awaken to your power. I often describe life as a great cosmic mirror, not a moral mirror, not a mirror that judges you, but an energetic mirror. It reflects what you are broadcasting, quietly, continuously, even when your conscious mind is preoccupied with distractions. And the mirror is perfectly neutral. It does not argue with you. It does not decide what you deserve. It simply reflects your inner world outward into form, circumstance, and symbolic experience. This is why two people in the same situation can live completely different. Emotional realities. One person sees opportunity, the other sees threat. One person meets kindness, the other meets hostility. One person is surrounded by possibility, the other by closed doors. The world is not doing this to you. You are doing this to the world. And the world is reflecting it back with astonishing accuracy. Now, I understand this might sound frustrating at first, because it suggests responsibility. But I promise you, once you recognize the truth, it becomes the most liberating realization you will ever have. Because it means that your life is not random. It is not chaotic. It is not subject to the unpredictable whims of fate. It means you can change everything by changing the one thing that actually matters, your inner state. This, you see, is the heart of the teaching. Not that you should try harder to manifest something, but that you should become aware of the emotional signature you carry through the world. Because you are always manifesting. Even now. Even in doubt. Even in fear. Even in longing. Which means you are far more powerful than you realize. Let me give you a metaphor. Imagine you are holding a magnet in your hand. And imagine the world around you is made of countless tiny metal shavings, experiences, people, opportunities, all swirling around, waiting to organize themselves around your magnetic field. If your magnet is shaped by fear, the shavings arrange themselves into fearful patterns. If your magnet is shaped by resentment, your experiences form themselves into echoes of that same bitterness. But if your magnet is shaped by peace, by trust, by a quiet knowing that life supports you, then the world reorganizes itself in ways that reflect that trust. This is not superstition. This is not magical thinking. This is a fundamental law of consciousness. Everything in your life is responding to the tone of your being. This is the meaning behind the ancient saying, as within, so without. It is not poetry. It is physics of the soul. Now let us return to the central idea. You always get what you want. To understand this deeply, you must redefine want. Most people think desire is simply the conscious wish for something, more money, a partner, better health, more peace. But the true want is the emotional investment beneath the surface. The universe responds to the emotional charge, to the sensation, to the identity you inhabit as you move through your day. If you identify as someone who is always waiting for life to improve, you attract more waiting. If you identify as someone who must struggle for everything, you attract more struggle. If you identify as someone perpetually uncertain, you attract experiences that keep you uncertain. Your identity itself is a request. And life, being neutral and precise, grants that request unfailingly. This is why inner work is the ultimate creative act. This is why meditation, self-awareness, and emotional coherence matter. Not because they are spiritual practices, but because they transform the energetic signal you broadcast. They shift the internal want from fear to trust, from scarcity to abundance, from separation to unity. And trust me, once the internal signal changes, the external world must follow. You cannot broadcast the frequency of certainty and continue to manifest chaos. You cannot emanate gratitude and continue to attract loss. You cannot live in the emotional state of a fulfilled person while simultaneously experiencing a life of emptiness. The two realities are incompatible. One must dissolve into the other. And so the key is not to force reality to change. The key is to become the one for whom the desired reality is natural. Not an achievement, not a miracle. Simply the next logical expression of your becoming. Let me tell you a secret. You do not attract what you chase. You attract what you are willing to receive. And to receive something, you must be emotionally congruent with it. If I hand you a beautiful gift, but you don't believe you deserve it, you will find a way to reject it. Maybe not immediately, but eventually. You will sabotage it, mistrust it, or feel unworthy of it until it slips through your fingers. This is why so many people lose opportunities, relationships, or blessings that they consciously wanted. They were not emotionally aligned with receiving them. But once you shift the emotional state, once you begin to feel like the kind of person who naturally experiences love, abundance, peace, or clarity, then receiving those things becomes effortless. You see, the universe is not withholding anything from you. It is simply matching your signal. Always. Consistently. Precisely. When people hear this, they often ask, so how do I change what I want emotionally? How do I shift the deeper desire that I've unknowingly rehearsed for years? And that, my friend, is where our journey begins. Because you do not change your reality by force. You change it by awareness. You cannot transform what you refuse to see. You cannot elevate what you deny. And you cannot heal what you pretend doesn't exist. So the first step, the very first, is to watch yourself without judgment. To become curious about your emotional patterns. To observe the silent stories you tell yourself when nobody is listening. What do you expect from life? What do you habitually anticipate? What emotional instructions have you been broadcasting to the universe day after day? Are you living as someone who expects disappointment? Are you living as someone who expects struggle? Are you living as someone who expects delay, rejection, or confusion? Or are you living as someone who trusts life, who feels guided, who believes that everything unfolding is conspiring in your favor? Because that inner posture, conscious or not, is the desire the universe responds to. And remember, you always get what you want when you truly understand what your want actually is. So then, let us go deeper into this mystery of wanting. Because wanting, as you begin to understand, is not a surface-level phenomenon. It is not the simple act of saying, I want this, or I want that. Wanting arises from the very core of your being. It bubbles up from the most intimate layers of your consciousness. And if you look closely, very closely, you will notice something quite profound. All of your desires are ultimately pointing you home. Not to a physical home, not to a place on a map, but to a state of being. Every desire you have ever had is a longing for a particular emotional experience. You think you want money, what you really want is freedom. You think you want a relationship, what you really want is connection. You think you want success, what you really want is significance, purpose, contribution. You think you want peace, what you really want is a sense of alignment with yourself. Strip away the form, and what remains is a pure feeling, a state, a frequency. And once you understand this, you unlock something extraordinary. The feeling you want is available now, long before the form arrives, long before the manifestation takes shape. You can experience freedom before the money. You can experience connection before the partner. You can experience peace before the circumstances change. And when you do that, when you learn to generate the feeling of the future before the future arrives, then the universe has no choice but to rearrange reality to match the state you are already living in. This is the paradox of wanting. You get what you want when you stop needing the outer world to confirm it first. Because the outer world is not the cause. It is the effect. Everything you experience externally is a delayed reflection of what you have cultivated internally. Your inner world is not secondary, it is the origin. Once you see this, you begin to play the game of life with a kind of lightness, a kind of inner freedom that most people never discover. You stop wrestling with circumstances. You stop bargaining with the future. You stop trying to force outcomes. Instead, you shift your inner state, and the world responds. Like a dancer following the lead. Like a river responding to gravity. Like a mirror reflecting whatever stands before it. But there is something even more beautiful here. Something people rarely consider. The universe is not merely responding to your desire, it is evolving you through your desire. You say you want strength, life gives you moments that ask you to become strong. You say you want courage, life brings you experiences that invite you to rise. You say you want love, life leads you to see every wall you've built around your heart. And it is not punishment, it is preparation. You always get what you want. But sometimes the universe gives it to you in the form of growth first. I often describe it as the seasoning of the soul. Life is not giving you obstacles, it is giving you the capacity to receive the very thing you asked for. If you want the ocean, you must first become the vessel capable of holding it. If you want abundance, you must expand beyond the consciousness of scarcity. If you want deep love, you must peel away the armor you wore when you believed love was unsafe. So, when people say, I asked for confidence and life gave me difficulties, I say, of course, you are becoming the one who naturally lives the reality you asked for. This is why resistance is such a fascinating teacher. When you resist an experience, you are resisting the version of yourself that the experience is carving out of you. You are resisting the growth that aligns you with your desire. But once you stop fighting, once you breathe into the moment and let it shape you, you begin to receive the hidden gift behind the discomfort. You begin to understand why things happen the way they do. You see, the universe is not random. It is not chaotic. It is intimately responsive. Every moment is speaking to you. Every experience is shaping you. Every challenge is polishing the lens through which you see reality. And if you pay attention, if you become the quiet, curious observer, you begin to notice that your life has always been guiding you, nudging you, whispering to you in subtle ways. The right people show up at the right moment. The right lessons appear when you are ready. The right opportunities emerge when your vibration matches them. Life is not happening to you. It is unfolding with you. This is why trust is such an essential ingredient in this journey. Not blind trust, not naive optimism, but an embodied trust that arises from seeing how intimately connected your inner world is to your outer experience. Because once you see the connection, once you truly see it, trust becomes the natural response. And when you trust life, you stop clenching, you stop contracting, you stop trying to control every variable. You become receptive, open, aligned. And in that openness, the things you once chased begin moving toward you. Not because you demanded them, not because you forced them, but because you became a match for them. Remember this. Life does not give you what you push for. Life gives you what you relax into. The oak tree does not strain to grow. The ocean does not struggle to rise and fall. The sun does not force itself to shine. All of nature unfolds effortlessly because it is aligned with its own essence. And you, my friend, are nature. You are not separate from this great cosmic rhythm. You are not an isolated fragment lost in an indifferent universe. You are the universe, expressing itself as a human for a little while. And once you understand this, not intellectually, but experientially, everything you want becomes available to you, because you stop wanting from a place of lack, and you start wanting from a place of recognition. You realize you don't want abundance. You are abundance rediscovering itself. You don't want love. You are love remembering its own reflection. You don't want peace. You are peace awakening from the dream of chaos. You don't want purpose. You are purpose incarnate. And so wanting becomes no longer an act of reaching for something outside yourself, but a gentle turning toward what has always been within you. This is why the great mystics and sages could walk through life with such profound serenity. They knew that nothing was missing. They knew that the universe was not withholding anything from them. They knew that desire was simply the soul guiding them back into deeper expressions of itself. When you want something, life is simply saying, here is the next door. Here is the next expansion. Here is the next unfolding. This is the beauty of desire. It is not greed. It is not restlessness. It is life seeking fuller expression through you. So when you feel a longing, do not shame it. Do not suppress it. Do not fear it. Become intimate with it. Listen to it. Follow it to its root. Ask it what it is truly pointing toward. Because every longing is a seed, and within the seed is the entire blueprint of the tree. But understand this as well. The seed does not become the tree by force. It becomes the tree by surrender, by yielding to its nature, by allowing itself to be guided, by trusting that everything it needs will arrive at the exact moment it is required. And so must you, because the universe has never denied you anything. It has only been waiting for you to become the version of yourself who can receive it. Which means your spiritual work is actually very simple. Become aware of the emotional reality you are currently living in. Notice the stories you tell yourself about life. Notice the expectations you unconsciously carry. Notice the vibration you inhabit when you wake up, when you speak, when you think, when you imagine your future. Your life is always speaking in the language of your state of being. If you want to change your experience, shift the